What's going on, folks? I'm Chase McAllister, owner of UNRL Media. If you have not called your leads yet today, I need you to just pause this video, go call your leads, because nothing we're going to talk about here matters if you're not going to do that. I have a very special guest, Johnny Luker, on the call today. Johnny's recently joined our program, starting to see some great success, and ultimately just an amazing guy. From what the team has said, from the interactions I've had, this guy has an amazing mindset, great attitude, and which is one of the hardest things to come by in this industry. I wanted to have him on, go over his experience in the program itself, ultimately give some good expectations and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. Johnny, for the folks that don't know you, how long have you been in the industry? What have you been doing in the industry? How have you generated business? And ultimately, why did you join the program?
I've been in, thanks, Chase. I appreciate you doing this recording here. I've been in the industry. I got licensed in January. I was working at Spectrum, and I'll tell you what, a buddy of mine brought me in and told me about the money that he was making and about helping the folks. And that was the main thing that I was interested in. Working at Spectrum, that's what I did was customer service. I would help those folks. I also sold internet, cable, and mobile, and so I'm on the phone all the time. I joined and I worked for First Family Life, and I still am under their umbrella. But we were using a lead system that was a little bit different than what I've seen here at UNRL. And a friend of mine told me about this, and I said, you know what, I'll absolutely give it a try. So I was on it. I've been on it. This is my second week
Yeah.
with UNRL. I sold four deals using this system last week, and I anticipate doubling that this week. But I've been in the industry since July the 7th.
Awesome.
So very, very fresh.
Very fresh. Very
Yes.
fresh. Um, what sort of things have you been able to take away? Being new in the industry, not a whole lot of experience, but obviously a lot of experience in sales, and we'll get into, I think some of your experience has helped you really have a great result and starting to get to a higher number here. But what things have you been able to take away? Maybe it's the ease of process, the script. What things have helped you in not just the leads, but the process in which you're closing deals? Have you been able to take anything away from the program?
Oh, absolutely. The script is outstanding. I say if you use the script that way, you as soon as you do have that in your spirit, you can go ahead and put your own caveat into it, your own personality. I believe the number one, people buy from people, and I believe rapport is the absolute number one. If you're just sitting there reading, unless you're an expert at it, it's tough to keep them on the phone. But if you can just mix in some color with those conversations, that is the hook right there to keep them listening to what you have to say. And I love the script. I mean, it handles every single thing. Another thing that I really, really love about this lead system over the other lead system that I'm working at is these people are calling in for a certain reason. There's in our other lead system, they were calling in for all different things, and then we had to introduce life insurance into the conversation.
Yeah.
These people already know that they're looking for life insurance or final expense insurance. Yeah.
Um, what was the biggest bottle? I guess what's the biggest hurdle that you've had to overcome in this new program? Maybe something that just didn't click right away, but it's starting to click for you now. Um, Something that you maybe have overcome, maybe some new objections. But what has been the biggest hurdle that you've had to overcome in the program?
I have not, like I said, I'll tell you what, Chase, to be totally honest with you, and I will be the whole way through, is I haven't had a hurdle yet. So, I mean, it's like either they're going to do it or they're not. Remember, I'm fresh.
Yeah.
So my first week was four deals. Okay. I'm anticipating double that this week.
For sure.
So I have not had a hurdle. The only hurdle I've had is because people are hearing things that are probably not advertised.
Yeah.
Um, that's
For
the
sure.
biggest hurdle that I've had so far.
So you're new, you're fresh in here, you just took the leap of faith, it's starting to work out for you. Um, who would you not recommend join our program? If you had, there was a skill set that you didn't have, or you were lacking, and you felt if you didn't have that skill set, maybe it wouldn't work out for you. But who wouldn't you recommend join our program?
People that don't know how to get rapport with people on the phone. That's the only people I would not recommend coming into this.
Yeah,
If you're somebody that has worked in phone sales, customer service, any type of talking to the client on the phone, I highly recommend this because you know what? That's 90% of the battle is rapport and talking to people, just having a conversation. That's the main thing.
yeah.
Is having a conversation. That's all it is.
Mhm. You know, there's three things that I look at, like, in our company when I'm looking at an employee, maybe demoting or promoting or even firing or even just like recruiting in a sense. I look at the three A's is what I call them. And I didn't make this up. I don't know where I got this from, but it's called action, approach, and attitude. And so action and approach can be taught. An approach you can give them the scripts. We can teach you how to isolate objections. We can teach you how to overcome them. We can role play with you. The action, this maybe takes some delegation, maybe takes some micromanagement at first. And then your attitude is the one thing that you just can't teach. And sometimes you come in with great attitude, but certain circumstances turn that attitude into bad attitude, right? And so you start
Correct.
looking at the company or your business with the glass half empty, not half full. And I would say that attitude is probably one of the most important things because action and approach can be taught, right? And so
Yes.
when you're having a bad day, because I'm sure there's been calls where you're like, what the F, right? Or what the fuck? I don't know why I'm abbreviating that. But and I would say that from the conversations that I've had, from the conversations you have with the team, your attitude has been flawless in the sense that you're not letting those things spook you or hold you back from getting to the goal. And that's the biggest thing is we'll have agents that come in and they might go 10-0 on their first day, or 10-0 or 25-0 in their first week, right? And and ultimately we try to set an expectation that your first 25 to 50 calls expect to be closing dog shit because you're learning a new script, you're learning a new system, right? Give yourself some time. And not a lot of people give themselves some time. They're always letting the bad calls interfere with their good calls. And also just blaming other things for their lack of success. But in reality, sometimes it's just a numbers game. Sometimes you do just get a bad luck of the draw, right? And you've done a phenomenal job of keeping a great attitude. I've listened to a lot of your calls, and you don't let the call before you that was bad get into the call that's going to be good. You keep a great attitude on the phone, which is half the battle, really. And just it helps you remain consistent if you have a good attitude, because you're not going to stop. And in this sense, consistency is going to beat anybody else. And so, how do you remain consistent? Well, you keep the approach predictable. You keep your action as consistent as possible, but you also maintain a great level of mental fortitude and good attitude. And that's where you get good.
Absolutely.
If you had one piece of advice from somebody that was sitting on the fence or potentially about to join the program, what would that be?
If I had some advice, um, just come in here with a positive mental attitude. I mean, you've got to do that with anything in life. I love the system because it's a set number that you get. You learn to manage that. I'm an OJT guy, so I learn something every day. Um, but you've got to have that good attitude. And you can't slip. I mean, and I'm not saying that. Just be consistent. I mean, that's the advice that I would give somebody is just be consistent on read the script, go by this, do the script. Once you get that in your spirit, I'm going to tell you right now, then that the color it'll bloom. And so that's all I got to say is just a positive mental attitude.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on. I know we got to get you back to calls.
Yep.
For folks that are watching this, that ultimately are sitting on the fence, that have come in a program, maybe left the program or coming back to the program, etc., We've had a lot of new advancements. We are strictly direct consumer inbound. We've moved a lot of our fronters out and are going straight to direct to consumer inbounds. Nice part, we also just launched last month our cash giveaways. So every call that you take is an entry into our giveaway. Last month we gave away $5,000. On this month we're on track to hit $15,000 in our cash giveaway. So one person, just for doing the job that they were going to do, for making sales, is going to potentially get $15,000 deposited in their account this month, which is pretty freaking cool. If you're interested, you want to join the program, send me a DM. Go to our website, www.unrl.io. You can buy some merch. You can get it added into that entry system. Johnny, I appreciate you jumping on today. I'm going to let you get back to some calls, man. And remember, call your fucking leads back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.